Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
So, in honor of the Super Bowl, which is mere days away, we are going to be talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yes. Although we don't know who's going to be in the Super Bowl because we're recording this early.
Yes.
It could be Kansas City.
It could not.
Could not. Not sure.
Maybe the 49ers.
Maybe the 49ers.
Yes. Yeah. Which would be exciting out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to talk about, obviously this has been written about a ton, their romance, their relationship, but
people are kind of obsessed with it, myself included.
And so, I mean, we both, I actually watched the Kelce documentary, which is about Jason Kelce primarily, but it's also Travis is in there and it's interesting to see him. And I listened to the podcast New Heights and then I watched Taylor Swift's Miss Americana, and I know what I see in the news and radio and all that other kind of stuff. So, and just watching those documentaries helped me get a better sense of both of them. But tell me, why are you obsessed with Taylor and Travis?
I don't know. I really don't know. I guess it just seemed like it seems to me like he just really likes her a lot, loves her probably at this point. The way he pursued her.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well,
story?
he said this on the podcast, the podcast he does with his brother. Excuse me. So he went to one of her concerts and he wanted to meet her. And he had made one of those, because at the Taylor Swift concerts, people make an exchange bracelets.
Yes.
So he made like one of those friendship bracelets, and I think it had his phone number on it or something.
Oh.
And he thought that, being the big football star, he could somehow get backstage or, meet her. Well, it didn't happen. He couldn't get backstage. And so then he told this story on the podcast. And then it got out into the world, and I think someone heard it that knows both of them or something. Somehow they got hooked up.
Yeah.
In the real world. And then she starts showing up at his games, and he's showing up at her concerts. And, they're just like this kind of like, a it couple, and, they're seen about town, and like, he obviously, I mean, she's a global superstar, but he likes the limelight. Like, he likes to dress nice and, You can tell he likes all that too. And they showed up on Saturday Night Live. They went to Saturday Night Live together, and they did a skit about how it was like a sportscaster table, and all they could talk about was Taylor Swift, and it's supposed to be a sports thing. And, because, all of a sudden the viewership for these football games went up tremendously because they keep panning to Taylor Swift in the VIP box watching the game, and she was wearing the jerseys and she's so into it. And so then he did a little cameo on there, and she introduced the musical guest. So just stuff like that, like they're sharing their relationship.
Yes.
Because a lot of times these people get together and they're all private about it and everything, and you're just like, well, I want to see, whenever people put it out there and they share the relationship, people love it, they eat it up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, after watching these documentaries, especially I watched the Miss Americana?
Miss Americana.
Miss Americana. I thought that was so interesting. I never saw it when it came out in 2020. But you forget, because Taylor Swift's been part of our lives for so long, everything that she's been through. And this documentary really takes it from, we see her starting out in old clips, but it cuts back and forth. It sort of tells her life story, her story of being in the limelight, being famous, and also her putting together this album that I guess
Lover
that and it's really interesting, and it was really interesting to see her where she was, because she comments and talks about sort of this evolution that she had, about how her big focus in her life forever was, I need to be good. I need to be good. I can't upset people.
She's seeking approval from strangers, mostly. Yeah.
And she, I need to always do the right thing, or be good, or not upset people, or just, and then she talks about, like, all of her dreams came true by the time she was, 20 or something. It's this really strange thing where she talks about, like, winning album of the year 2 years in a row, and sort of being at the top of the mountaintop and being like, well, what now? And the backlash that she got from, obviously what happened to her in 2009, where Kanye went up. And she thought they were booing her, and they weren't. They were booing him. And it sounds like at the time, you see some commentators, like everyone talking about it. Everyone was very annoyed with Kanye West and how what he did, and the fact that, this was a young girl.
Yeah.
19 at the time or something.
I think 17, maybe 18. I don't know. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, the president, Obama, called him a jackass.
Yeah. Yeah.
On television. Yeah, it was awful.
And sort of going through all of that, and then feeling like that spurred her on to dig deeper, and just like, well, I have to prove everyone wrong. I have to prove that I am. And then, going through all of that, and then the whole 2016 and Kanye and Kim, and I made that bitch famous line, and whether or not she agreed to it or not, and the hashtag trending, like Taylor Swift's party's over, and that becoming the number one hashtag, and her just kind of retreating. And just
she had to go away for like a year. She just stayed had no public appearance. Nobody saw her, heard from her for a year, which was probably a good thing to do.
Yes.
Because, the thing about her is, she kind of struggled a little bit for a few years, but then she took off so fast, and she was so successful. And literally, she keeps beating her and breaking her own records.
Yes.
Like, I was looking on Wikipedia, and they go through, all the awards and all the record sales. And she literally, she bumps herself off the charts.
Yeah.
So she's on number one on the charts, and then another song of hers bumps that song, and it's number one. She's got the highest grossing tour of all time. She has the highest grossing concert movie of all time, highest gross sales of records of all time. I mean, and she just keeps breaking.
Yeah.
And it's you look at it and you're like, my God, like, where do you go from here?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's another thing I'm really interested about her life. She's 34. What now?
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, just continuing to break your own records over and over again. I don't know. I don't know what she's gonna do from now on. And she just, how hard she's worked. Like,
oh my God,
God.
What I think is so interesting is just seeing this evolution, because I work with young people, and it's so funny because one of her big realizations is I got to stop seeking approval and validation from other people. I have to find it inward. And that's something that I work on with my clients constantly, which is this idea of you cannot put your sense of self into other people's hands because they have all the control and you can't control other people. So you might as well just you're just kind of giving it away. And how, and she realizes that, and she talks about her relationship with food. She was super skinny for a long time, and she was just like, I was working out, but I wasn't eating. And I thought that's what I needed to be, or I thought that's what people wanted. And just her being like, I don't like to look at pictures of myself because it triggers something inside of me.
And people would write stuff like she said she saw there was a magazine cover or something where, her stomach, like her lower stomach area, it was not perfectly flat.
Yeah.
Like the angle of the camera, obviously she's very skinny, but the angle of the camera kind of made her belly stick out a little bit. And people are saying, is she pregnant?
Yeah.
And so people are just micro scrutinizing her body all the time. I mean, that will look, she's not the first, successful young woman to, be driven into an eating disorder.
Yeah. But just the fact that, I mean, I'm sure she's gone to therapy. I'm sure she's worked on herself, but just the fact that she kind of figured out, like, I got to get out of this. Like, this isn't going to work for me. Just the way in which she has reacted to things. It's like, oh, she's pretty classy. I mean, she's and she talks about this too, where she's like, each artist has something that makes them unique or special or different. And she said, for me, it's songwriting. And you get to watch her write songs and just process. How incredibly talented she is. And the, just what that is. And her drive and desire to, really kind of keep pushing herself and pushing her own limits and reinventing herself. But what I think is interesting is, 2023 was a hard year, but not for Taylor Swift. Like she, that concert that she had and the movie and everything that happened, she really hit her peak. And I can understand. I think it's so interesting that, at the end of all of this, she meets Travis and they start this relationship, and just seeing, she's very famous for all the people she's dated and writing about all the people that she dated. And here's this guy that comes along, and I think he's sort of a good combination of alpha male and also, I believe
not
in
threatened
you.
By her.
A non-threatened alpha male.
Right.
Which is, I think, exactly what she kind of needs. She needs somebody who isn't going to be threatened by her, isn't threatened by her fame, isn't threatened by everything that she has. But she also needs someone who's going to, take, be in charge a little bit and take
care of her.
Take care of her and help her. And, so, yeah.
And I think
I
think it's interesting too. Her parents. I think a lot of her success is due to her parents' support. It's interesting. Both of her parents have a financial background. They're in the finance industry.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so they actually moved. Her father worked for Merrill Lynch or something, and he transferred to the Merrill Lynch office. They were from Pennsylvania. Transferred to the office in Nashville because she wanted to be a country music singer, and so they moved their whole family there. And I think they had money. They were good with money. The mother was also in finance and banking, so she had these real solid parents who guided her, and and she's just worked her ass off, and did the whole reinventing. It's kind of like reminds me of Madonna, just the reinventing yourself over and over and over. And she commented that female pop stars
Yes.
or what singers, they have to do that.
Because we don't ask the Rolling Stones to keep reinventing
they're
themselves.
doing the same gig. They're
Bob
dressing the
Dylan,
same.
Paul McCartney, they're all doing the same damn thing they've always done.
Exactly. They don't have to keep reinventing themselves. But women, it's like, okay, well, what do you got now?
Yeah.
You know, and there's different periods in her life. Like obviously what she was doing at 17 or 20 or is different than what she's doing now. And her, you know, she's had to come into her own. I thought it was interesting that she started to get, you know, a lot more political.
Yes.
Which was good. And she said she was always afraid to speak out because remember what happened to the Dixie Chicks?
Yep.
You know,
and a lot of, and not just the Dixie Chicks, a lot of people. And she says that. She's like, I love the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah. But country music, especially, like you're expected to keep politics out of it. Although I've heard, you know, now I hear a lot more of that stuff and, you know, the kind of pro, you know, Trump type stuff in country music. But not like I listen to a lot of it, but I've heard some. And so, yeah. And so finally she's just like, this is ridiculous. Like I should be able to say what I want. And she spoke out.
It's the Senate race.
Marsha Blackburn.
In Tennessee. That was the one that really got her. Because she does say, she's like, I wish I had spoken out in 2016. I didn't. And so now here's the midterm elections. This woman who doesn't, the big one was the harassment.
Well, she wouldn't vote to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. She was against
gay marriage,
anything.
Yeah.
She's against, you know, anything having to do with LGBTQ rights.
Yeah.
No, she's horrible. She's horrible. And she endorsed the Democratic candidate, but also like she would have, I remember I saw Layla and I saw Taylor Swift in what year was it? I wrote it down here in 2014, I think.
So what tour was that?
This
Do you
was
remember?
The 1989 album.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So she has like at her concerts, she has places where you can register to vote. And she tells people, you know, register to vote. And she started getting much more political. And she has a lot of power.
She does have a lot of power.
She has a lot of power. And she reached a lot of people on this Eras tour. And hopefully she signed up a lot of young people to vote. And she says it out loud at her concerts about, you know, voting and you make a difference, you change, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so she's not as afraid because, you know, she's too powerful now.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what anyone says about her.
Yeah, she's sort of gone to this next level.
Yeah.
And with the whole Kanye thing, she just really was like, I don't want to have anything part of it. I don't want to be part of this narrative. I never asked for any of this. And I just think that, she's having the last laugh. Like Kim Yi did not last, number one. And number two,
and Kanye's crazy.
Is crazy. Anti-Semitic, crazy person. And the other interesting thing they talk about in the documentary is her suing that DJ.
Yeah.
So in, what was it? Was it 2000 and, I don't remember when the picture was taken, but this DJ, and you can see very clearly in the picture, they show the picture. She's between these two local DJs. Taylor's leaning as far away from the guy as possible. She's leaning towards the woman. We see the guy's hand is clearly down by her butt.
Oh, it's on her butt. And she said it went under her skirt.
Yes.
She had a short skirt on.
She complained about him. He got fired. He was so mad that he sues her for millions. And she says, you know what? Then I'm going to sue you for $1. And she talked about like going out there and having to say that and just how hard it is. And just to anyone who has not been believed and how painful it was to have to stare down at this person who's making her feel like she's, you know, just this awful person. And how dare you do this at all? And I thought that, I remember when that case happened, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. But I know the big Taylor Swift songs. I don't know all the little, do not consider myself a Swiftie. I do not know, any of the other random songs that people talk about. But I do have to say that really love that she gave all that money away this year from the tour, and life-changing money for truck drivers and other people. Like, everybody was compensated.
Oh, yeah, she was
I think
giving $100,000 tips
yes
to the people driving the trucks from city to city.
And she, you know, I mean, that could change someone's life. And she, what was the other one? Like, she's a lot like Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
And
you don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, I think she's a lot like Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Like, Dolly Parton is not a billionaire because she gives so much goddamn money away.
Yeah.
Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Like, there is no need for you to be a billionaire.
Yeah,
and
you don't need that much money.
You don't need it. You're never going to be able to spend it. So you've got to give it. And I think we hear a fraction of what Dolly Parton does.
Yeah.
And I think we hear a fraction of what Taylor Swift does. I really do believe that, because I think that was not that learning about those tips. Like, it wasn't like she promoted that, you know. I just feel like that kind of got out somewhere, and that wasn't intended for that. So, and you see her in the show with her parents, who are very normal people.
Very grounded.
Very grounded. She says, my mom's my best friend. She like could only confide in her. Her dad would, you know, she disagreed with dad at one point, but she just said, okay, Dad, that's what you think. This is my life. And she was like, and I'm going to go out there. And he hugged her and kissed her and said, okay.
Yeah. Well, was this they had a meeting where it was, I think it was her dad and like her management team. It's like 25 people. They show them having a meeting.
Yes.
And a lot of them are old white men. I don't know if these are her friends of her dad's from the finance world or what, but she's got this huge management team. And they had a big meeting, but then there was a smaller meeting with her parents and like maybe one or two of those guys. And they're saying, we don't want you to say anything political or get political because we're worried about your safety. And she's just like, oh, well, what? Like, I don't care. You know,
she's like, I'll get armored cars then. I mean, what else? I mean, anything could happen to her otherwise.
Right.
I mean,
there could be just some crazy fan. I mean, safety is safe. Give her the safety from whatever needs to be done. But yeah, why should she have to be quiet?
Yeah.
You know, especially when she has such a huge platform and fan base and everything. I mean, my God, if all the people who saw her in concert this year showed up and voted, I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about President Trump again, you know?
Yes. And that is one thing. I know we don't want to get too political.
People get mad
we get very mad when people get political, but I do wish that she would endorse Biden a bit more. I wish she would.
Well, I think she probably will when it gets closer. But people aren't really thinking about the general election right now.
Ugh, so. It's all I think about.
Well, you can't start thinking about it now. You'll go crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I do appreciate the sentiment of voting and urging young people to vote. And apparently you could not get a bead or a bead kit in all of Los Angeles when she was in town. Like, apparently everything was sold out. Like, she helped the bead industry. Right. She helped.
Oh, she infused billions of dollars into the American economy.
Yes.
Through her tour.
Yeah, absolutely. She did. And she didn't keep it all for herself. She gave it back. And so I have a lot of respect for her. I have a lot more respect seeing and remembering all the stuff that she's been through and how she really has. And I think that we criticize and we're so mean. And the thing is, like, you know, oh gosh, she's so annoying at these shows and hanging out with these supermodels and she's doing this. It's like, she's 20. And then she was 23. And then she was 24. Yeah. Like,
well, she's not allowed to have friends and go out to dinner.
But the other thing is, okay, so what? Like, these are her friends. Some of them are still her friends. Some of them aren't. Like, she gets to be out. She gets to live her life. She gets to make mistakes. She gets to fall down. And I think that's a lot of what she's saying is, you know, as a female, especially a female in spotlight, you don't get those things.
Right. You have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, another thing she did that I admired her for is she pulled her entire catalog from Apple and Spotify because they weren't paying streaming royalties. Like, Apple had this, I guess this was back in the day. I don't think they do this anymore. But if you join Apple Music, they'll give you like 3 months for free. And so during that 3 months, no royalties are paid
Yeah.
to the artist. So she pulled it from Apple,
Mm-hmm.
and they immediately said, okay, we'll pay, because it's like,
Yeah.
you need her.
Yeah.
And same with Spotify. It was the same thing. It was over streaming payments. And I mean, she's very powerful.
Yes. And I think that she was powerful because you look back on the career and you're like, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I
how many
know.
songs
You forget.
Yes. You're like, oh, that's right. We are never, ever getting back together. Yes. I remember 8 years ago, 10 years ago, listening to that, like all of it. So she is very powerful. And after 2023, she's even more powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, she is as powerful. I don't know. I think she's more powerful than Beyonce.
Yeah.
I
She
think.
has surpassed Beyonce. I mean, Beyonce's concert did very well, but I don't
Yes.
think it did this well.
And Madonna's falling apart.
Oh,
Everyone's
Madonna can
pissed.
barely make it or
Yeah.
show up to her concerts. I think, just a side note, I think Madonna needs to, like, people are going to start remembering her for these wacky
Yes.
things she's doing now and forget like how fabulous she was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she needs to, hang it up while she still has her dignity intact, because what is she doing?
Yeah, it's like, she Madonna, because we are Gen Xers, she is a legend, and she reinvented herself and did things. Her documentary Truth or Dare was groundbreaking because we had never seen anything like that before. She is fascinating.
She's a legend.
She's a legend. But the thing is, you're absolutely right. Like, I think she should still perform if she wants to perform, but it's like, show up on goddamn time.
Right. Be
Stop
professional.
injecting shit in your face.
Yeah.
Like, she went way too crazy with all that. She doesn't even look like herself anymore. And, but show up on time like this.
Yeah.
And again, what I love too is, who do you think your audience is?
Right. Old people.
People our age.
Yes.
I'm not going to stay 2 hours. I'll tell you that
No.
right now. I can barely make it to something like at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'm exhausted by then.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Know your
Yeah.
audience. Yeah.
Don't do that, Taylor Swift. Don't
No.
start injecting your face with anything. And if you're listening to this, show up on time.
No, Taylor is very professional.
Yeah.
I can't see her doing anything like that. And so it was a good documentary. And and I wish her the best. I like I said, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I think at a certain point, I think maybe she might want to have a family.
Yeah. I think she does.
This is the age.
Yeah.
This is. So I don't know if it'll be with Travis Kelce or not, but
I think that I think it's interesting, like the timing of this, and maybe that's why everyone's so fascinated, is all of these other people she was dating, like Jake Gyllenhaal was so much older than her. And so now she's got someone who's like appropriate, the right age.
They're the same age.
They are both at the height of what they're doing. He obviously isn't intimidated by her fame. And I do think you're right. I think he does like a little bit of the spotlight, but I think he also, wants to marry someone that he really loves and connects with, just the way his brother did. And I think he wants, I would think that he wants something similar to his brother, marriage and children and all of that, and to have a career outside of football, I would assume someday. So yeah, the more I think about it, they are a good pair. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
So pivoting over to Mr. Travis Kelce. I watched the Kelce documentary. Well, first of all, I didn't know who these people were till the Super Bowl last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know, because I don't follow sports unless it's something like this.
I couldn't believe that was last year. I thought that was 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm like, that was just last year. When did time is so strange.
Last year went by very fast.
Yes,
but I remember because it was the first time two brothers were facing off against each other in the Super Bowl, and then the mom with the double-sided jersey.
Yes,
and so it was like, oh, that's really cute, and but I didn't know them anything about their football careers or know them as players, and then. And then when this Taylor Swift thing happened, then now they're all over the news. And I would see like clips from their podcasts on TikTok. And, I'd kind of stop and look at them. I don't know what they're talking about when they talk about the football stuff, but if they're talking about their lives, I'll watch the clips.
Yeah, I mean the shows that I was listening to, it was a lot of like they kind of banter on and talk about their sponsorships, and then they talk about like what's going on in their lives, or it's the holidays, or it's this, and then it's like, okay, let's talk about your game, and then we're going to talk about my game.
Yeah,
and they basically just talk about the games. And so I remember thinking, if you really, really love football and these are your teams, I could totally see how this would be fascinating.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they are the number one show because they're not doing anything too remarkable, but
they're likable.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about them. They're both very likable.
And I think that Travis, of the two brothers, I get the sense that he's the one that said, let's do this podcast. And Jason was like, what is this going to be? I think, and that's why I think that Jason will, he played another year. We'll see if he retires or not. But
I think he announced he was retiring.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Officially? Okay.
Yeah.
So he is, so it'll be interesting to see like what he decides to do. I think Travis will always be in the limelight.
Yeah.
Like I really do. I think Travis likes,
he'll be like
all
a
these other parts.
sportscaster. Yeah. He'll get some deal. But so then this documentary Kelce came out.
That was in 2022.
No, just
The documentary?
It came out like
it's sorry. It was the 2022 season. Sorry.
Yeah.
Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
So somebody, I don't know who, decided to make this documentary, maybe because they were maybe thinking that that the 2022 season would be his last season because he got one Super Bowl and wanted to go for one more because he's physically very beaten up.
Yes.
He doesn't know how much longer he can do this. And you see him in pain, and he's broken so many bones and had surgeries, and he's been doing it 10 years.
He said this was for the documentary. They said this was 12th year playing. He said 7 surgeries. He's like, I'm in good shape, but I'm in decent shape for a 35, something like that. Like I'm in decent shape as a football player, but for a 35-year-old, I'm a mess or something like that. Like, I'm not so bad compared to all the people that I play with.
Right.
And the other thing too is, and I think his wife talks about this too, where, he's also playing a little bit with fire where you could then, play and all of a sudden you get a horrible head injury or like something that really does you in.
Really knocks you out. Yeah. So I think they were thinking that might be his last season. So they wanted to catch it on camera. I don't know if it was his idea or some other, documentary filmmaker's idea. I'm not really sure. But, we are already kind of familiar with these guys. And like I said, I don't watch or follow sports, but I love a sports documentary because just the whole thing about the sport, it's just a great story. And, the watching somebody, go through all this and the sacrifice that the family has to make and the sacrifice that everybody and all the hard work. And then, it's either like the feeling of this tremendous joy of victory or the agony of defeat, as they say.
Yeah.
And it's very dramatic and it's just a good story, whether you understand football or watch it or not, you know?
No, you're
I
right.
love a good sports documentary. So
You're right. Because you're absolutely right, because you can't help but root for the person because they have been working so long and so hard to do this one thing. And they are really, I mean, football is a long enough game, but some of these people, you watch these Olympians, like you have 3 minutes on on the ice to show the world what you've been doing every day at 4 a.m. You know?
For 10 years or more.
And there's all these factors that go into it that you can't control, but it's so
amazing. Their childhood is interesting. So they grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. And, you know, they both played lots of different sports.
And they're very close in age. Yeah. Jason's only 2 years older.
Yeah.
So they had these two boys pretty quickly.
Yeah. Travis is 34 and Jason's 36. And so their parents were, I think their dad was a salesman for a steel company and the mom worked.
She did something in finance.
Something in banking.
Yeah, banking.
Yeah. So, you know, they're, and it was a struggle for them to pay because all the sports stuff is expensive. Yeah. And you got two boys playing 3 different sports. I mean, that's like a lot of money all year long. And I guess the parents but for having to financially be able to do this and to logistically do it and take them to all the practices and the games, they probably would have been divorced.
Yeah.
Because they were sleeping in separate rooms.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Travis is the one that says that, like, I would go to other people's houses and I would see that it was different, that their parents were sleeping in the same room.
Yeah.
And so that's so interesting. And I guess they finally got divorced, like when the boys went off to college.
When they left. Yeah.
But I mean, it was this, because the parents have made sacrifices. I think both of them were probably, I mean, it sounded like maybe the marriage, maybe they were done pretty early when the boys were, you know, maybe in grade school or something. And because Travis said this was around when like he was 7 or 8. So by then you're sleeping in separate rooms. Yeah. So it's pretty obvious then, like, ugh. Yeah. So these two have not been happy in this marriage for a long time. They've made so many sacrifices. In so many different ways, but it seems like the two of them were very committed in, we've got to stay together for these boys.
Right. To get them launched.
And into the world. But it doesn't even feel like the parents put a lot of pressure on them, because I could see being like, okay, I'm going to make all these sacrifices and my kid's going to play in the NFL, or my daughter's going to be Taylor Swift or whatever. Like these parents that make these sacrifices, but there's lots of parents that make all these sacrifices and the kids go nowhere or do nothing. Right. I mean, that's a lot to give up to just...
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, just to make it easier to shuttle them around to sports.
Right. Yeah, and so they're playing at high school together at the same time. And then Jason is in his senior year and he's kind of banking on getting a scholarship. And he does not get any scholarship offers. So he got he was a walk-on at the University of Cincinnati. But, you know, financially, I'm sure that was difficult. And then 2 years later, Travis, he actually did get a scholarship, and he had a handful of schools offering him a scholarship, but he chose to go to University of Cincinnati to play with his brother. And that's the thing, they've always, like, Travis clearly idolizes this guy. Yeah. I mean, and always has.
Yes.
And I'm sure Jason does too, but Jason is just less, he's protective of Travis.
Yeah.
But he's much less emotional. Travis really kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. And like, I've seen a couple clips where there was a clip where they were talking about, from the podcast, where they were talking about, I think it was after the Super Bowl. And Travis was basically saying, well, look, you know, there would be no Travis Kelce if it wasn't for Jason Kelce. And you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And, you know, he's just gushing on and on. And Jason's just like, doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to really express emotion very well. He's very stoic.
Yes. Well, and I think that probably maybe it was instilled in him, like, you take care of Travis. He's the younger one. He obviously takes his big brother duties very seriously. And we hear about that in various times about how how protective he has been of him.
Yeah. So when they were at the University of Cincinnati, they did a random drug test and Travis tested positive for marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So they suspended him for a year. And I think that Jason had to kind of convince the coach to let him back on the team because I think the coach was not happy about it and was like, why should I let him in? And so again, Jason comes in and he, puts his reputation and everything on the line for Travis, but it did pay off.
Yes. And I appreciate the way in which Travis talked about it. He said, listen, I did it. I got caught. I went off the team. I was deeply ashamed. I had to live with that. It sucked. And and then I got back on the team. Like, it was like, good. Thank you. That's all you need to say.
Takes responsibility.
I mean, it's like, because one random drug test a year, it just feels like it's so weird. Like, either don't, either drug test them so they know not to smoke pot or don't.
Right.
So anyway.
Right. So when Jason graduates college, he goes into the draft and he was picked.
He was the sixth round pick. Yeah.
Yeah. And but he quickly became very valuable player to the team and has got all the accolades and stats and I don't even know what to call it, but it's very successful career.
Yeah. Well, and also the big thing was it opens up with this interview with this guy who's just gushing. I mean, because the Eagles are, they're notoriously, like, the fans are crazy. And apparently people really think and attribute a lot of the 2018 Super Bowl to Jason, because it was the first Super Bowl that the Eagles had won in 52 years. So he's such a hero.
They had that the parade.
And he had that suit. He wore a suit and a thing and he yelled. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a big deal.
Yeah. And he really fit in with the Philly kind of like profile. He's like a man's man. He's like, says the right things and all of that. And then Travis followed. Travis was picked in the third round, the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's had a very good career, obviously. Both of them. I mean, what are the chances, two brothers like...
Well, because, 2018, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. 2020, Kansas City wins the Super Bowl.
Or maybe 2019?
It might have been the 2019-2020. Like, the game was played in 2020, but I saw that and then then Kansas City played another year and lost or won. Did they? Because they were back-to-back Super Bowls.
Oh, so then it must have been 21 and 22. If it was back to back.
So maybe it was.
I don't think they were back to back. I think they were a couple years apart.
I feel like I somehow sense that, like, God damn it, it's Kansas City again. I remember that feeling was it Buccaneers? Did Kansas City play the Buccaneers? Is that when Tom Brady came back?
Oh, don't ask me.
I don't know. If my husband was here, he would tell us exactly. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, both superstars, different teams, and winning Super Bowls like in their lifetime, and going to Super Bowls in their lifetime.
Yeah, and so in the documentary, they reveal that Travis just got his diploma from University of Cincinnati in 2022. It took him, 12 years or something, but he got his degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the documentary, you can see Jason is kind of, I guess he's looking into different things that he can do once he retires. And some of them are kind of odd. I don't know, they're out, they show both of them out in like this field and
he's planting a garden,
planting stuff. And then there's something about steers or cows, or you see him.
That.
I don't know. He's, that was kind of a strange.
Yeah. Well, we see a lot of Jason's home life that apparently he met his wife on Tinder. And of course, she's from Philadelphia and she knows like who he is. So it was like either he's going to be there or it's going to be some weirdo.
Yeah. She didn't know if she's being catfished.
Yeah. So, but apparently he just fell in love with her instantly. And we see him. They have 2 little kids. They have 2 little girls, and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, so she was 38 weeks pregnant when he played the Super Bowl. And what is it? Their one daughter, I feel like one daughter was 1.5 and the other one was maybe 2.5. I mean, they were very close together in age.
I think they're all like about 2 years apart. So probably like, 1.5 and then 3.5.
Yeah. The funniest moment of this documentary was this, where Travis and Jason's in the other room recording the podcast. And Kylie, his wife, she's very pregnant. To the 2 girls, she's like, shh, daddy's recording. And the girls, of course, when you say someone's recording, you've got to be quiet. They become even louder.
Yeah.
They're even louder. And then the older girl, she's just like, I have to dance.
That was so cute.
Where she's like, I need to sing.
Yeah.
And I have to dance.
And even Kylie cracks up, starts laughing. But now the girls are so super cute.
They are very cute.
And they call Travis Uncle Travie.
Uncle Travie.
And they're just darling. They're just adorable. And
I think Kylie wants him to retire. Yeah. And I'm with Kylie on this one. I can imagine for her, I would say for someone who makes so much money, it's like you did not see, there was no one helping her do anything.
No, she doesn't have a nanny. They live in this very modest house.
No nanny, no chef, no nothing. No nothing. And, very, it's a lovely home, but somewhat, but
it's not a McMansion.
Yeah.
Travis has a McMansion. I've seen a picture of one of he has several houses. He has this big house in Kansas City. Or near Kansas City. But anyway, they're very salt of the earth, like Jason and Kylie.
But poor Kylie, I mean, can you imagine being 38 weeks pregnant with 2 little kids?
No, and then she had to take her OBGYN with her to the Super Bowl in case she went into labor.
Well, and then what she had for help were her parents.
Yeah.
Like they were and I was just like, God, you don't have anyone to help you or come with you for these things?
She's in the she's in the hotel room, like just they're in this like not very big hotel room.
I was just like, what? You're all staying in this one room?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're very frugal.
Yeah, they are very frugal.
Which is smart, you know?
It is the smart thing to do.
Yeah, you only have so many years with, your body to be able to play like that, especially his position. And so smartly, I think he's saving his money.
Yeah. Because the other thing too is that people see, $14 million. He's re-signed for a year for $14 million. It's like, okay, take everyone's
50% in taxes.
Yeah. Take then 10%. A certain percentage and agents and managers that you probably have other people on your payroll. You might have a business accountant, like they'll take percentages. Like all these people take percentages.
Yeah.
And then take that. And this could be the last money you ever earned.
Right.
For a long time.
Well, there's some statistic. It's like something like 80% of NFL players are broke like within 2 years or something after they stop playing. So, it's a problem. So,
But so they were buying all those tickets for the Super Bowl. And I was really surprised.
They had to pay for their own tickets?
I didn't understand that. I was like, don't you guys all get a box or something?
Yeah, you don't get a certain number of free tickets. They had to spend $50,000.
And they had to buy tickets for the girls.
Right.
Like these 2 little girls.
That aren't even going to sit in their seat.
I didn't understand. I could understand like, okay, maybe her parents, or maybe if you have family coming that maybe you have to pay for that. But I would think that the player's wife and children would get free tickets.
That was insane.
Yeah, that really surprised me. And then having to pay $4,000 a ticket, because it's these crazy prices.
Yeah, and they're sitting in the stands. They're not even in a box.
Yeah,
like apparently Kylie will not sit in a box. She's like, I'm a stands girl.
Well, because she's a hardcore Eagles fan.
Yeah,
so she
grew up with them.
Yeah, so she absolutely you see the game that Jason plays. to get them into the Super Bowl. And then we see the whole family, Mama Donna and Dad, watching Travis play and then finding out, okay, now he's going into the Super Bowl. And that mother, I mean, I can't imagine what she was feeling in that moment. I mean, she was crying. It's like, I can't imagine both of these parents. Like, wow, how did we do this?
Yeah. Really
but knowing they were going to face off. And then the mom became the hottest ticket in town for that Super Bowl.
She got everyone wanted to interview her and see her double-sided jersey and her.
Who sews all of those for her? Because she has more than one.
Oh, yeah. And she had like a jacket, and I think she had some tennis shoes. I don't know. I'm sure someone makes them for her. But yeah, that's.
And she, like, apparently she traveled to see both her boys play. She traveled from like Tampa to the middle of the country, like from Kansas City to Tampa, you know, I mean, to try to get again, just like when she was in Ohio, you know, driving them to their games.
Yeah,
it's fancier, but it's the same damn thing.
Yeah. I know. It doesn't change. I have a friend whose son is in the NFL, and like she and her husband, they try to go to, the husband goes to all the games. She doesn't go to all of the games because she still has like one kid at home who's in high school, and you know, it's a lot. She says it's a lot.
I'm sure it is.
It's a big ordeal going to these games. But yeah, the parents, they you know, once you're a parent, you're always a parent wanting to go to the games and the things.
And your kids want you to be there to watch them and you know, all that other kind of stuff and support them. And with football, there aren't as many games, so it's like it is a big deal.
Yeah,
you know. But they seem it makes me the fact that they've, you know, these parents, and knowing they've been so unhappy for so long, that's the one kind of like, oh God, you know, how hard is that? And all of that. But yeah, we see that, you know, obviously the Kansas City wins and he's beyond thrilled, obviously Travis, but then Jason is so sad.
I know the mom, she had to first console. She saw Jason first at the end of the game. They're on the field. She sees Jason first. They start to hug. He breaks into tears.
Yeah.
She breaks into tears. And they're hugging. And, you know, so you can hear them I love you. I love you. I love you. And then he finishes hugging her and he's like, okay, now go celebrate with Trav.
Yeah.
And then she goes and she finds Travis and he's just like so happy to see her. When he finds her and he sees her and, you know, they hug. I mean, yes, I love these movies. So emotional. So emotional.
Well, I did learn a new phrase. I don't know if this was the coach of Philly saying this. GTF up. F you.
Get the fuck up.
Get the fuck up. GTFU. I'm going to start using that. Maybe to Max to get up in the morning. GTFU. Get the fuck up.
Yes.
But yeah, that's that whole thing of you're in pain on the ground. Get the fuck up and keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, as we record this, Philly is out of the
They're
out of the playoffs.
Now let me check the score of the Kansas City game because right before we started recording, they were ahead and it was the fourth quarter. So
did they win?
Wait, that's the 49er game.
49ers won.
49ers won.
So they're going to the next round.
Kansas City game. Final. Oh, the Chiefs won.
All right. So the Chiefs are advancing. So after this, it's the next games are who's going to be in the Super Bowl, basically.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. This isn't the final. They've got one more round to go. Everyone's got one more round to go.
Okay.
So Jason's out, and you said Jason retired. So I guess he's working on his garden now with his little. I mean, you see him a lot with his little girls playing with them.
Oh yeah, he's very. You know, he's so strong. He just picks them up with like, you know, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And throws them around. And
one little girl was like, I don't like this, Daddy.
Because she's swinging him around. And then the other one wants him to keep spinning her. But you can tell he's in pain. And Kylie's like, maybe give Daddy a break. Like he worked really hard yesterday.
Yeah. But see, I can imagine for Kylie, right? Like your husband, and obviously they have resources, so it's not awful. Like she could hire people if she wanted to, but she's got 3 young kids, and she has this husband who physically is falling apart and who has to leave, you know, and there's this intense time always around the holidays, playing on Christmas Day, always working. And then, you know, she has to deal with the mood swings and all of that stuff, the feeling so low about everything and being in a funk. And, you know, you probably have a couple months where he's home and that's nice. And then training starts again and then you lose him again. And so I have a lot of empathy for these women who marry these men where people think like, oh my God, you have the best life. It's like, I don't know.
No, they hardly ever see their husbands. And, what was I going to say? Oh, well, yeah, at the end of the movie, so the baby is born after the Super Bowl, a couple days after the Super Bowl, the baby's born. And so they have a newborn. And then Jason goes off on kind of a little press tour.
He goes to Saturday Night Live with his brother.
Yeah, because his brother's hosting and he wants to be there to support him. And they're doing some other stuff. And so basically, and then so you see him, he's on his cell phone, he's calling Kylie at night to, you know, to talk to her and say hi to the girls and whatever. And you can tell she's pissed.
Oh, yeah. She is done.
She's like, does not want to talk to him. She's just like, what the fuck? I'm here alone. Maybe her mom was there. I don't know. She doesn't have any other help. And then the phone call ends and he's like, God, he just felt like shit. Yeah. He's like, I'm failing right now. He's like, I have a 1 week old baby at home and my wife is alone. And, you know, you could tell that like, he felt like shit. Yeah. But, you know, he wanted to support his brother and it was just bad timing. And maybe they need to hire some help.
Yes. God, that's what I don't understand. I mean, because, you know, hey, Jason, I can understand if you didn't have any of these outside things happening, but you know, you are a very popular player.
Fine.
You're going to get endorsement deals. This podcast that they're doing, they're making money from it.
He's going to get, he's going to get,
he's going to be fine. I really feel like Kylie, if you're out there listening, please, you deserve some help or someone who could cook you meals or something.
It doesn't have to be like a full-time nanny. Just someone to come in a few hours a day, help you out, give you a break. Yeah. Just something, another set of hands. It's okay.
No one's going to judge you.
No.
So, yeah. But it's funny. You think about Taylor's family and Travis's family and there's a lot of similarities. Yeah. The salt of the earth, like good head on their shoulders, normal, not crazy, not they are supportive of their children, but they don't put themselves inside. You know, they're not trying to be their children.
Seeking attention. Yeah.
They're not seeking the attention. They want to do what's best for their kid. So I think that combination is a really good combination. And I think that the other problem with Taylor is, you know, she expresses herself and through her songwriting, right? So she will continue to write songs about whatever she's doing, whatever relationship she's in, whatever's happening in her life. That's what she's going to write about. And I think that Travis is good for that because I think Travis is like, oh, I'm in a song. I think that he's the kind of person that would think, okay, that's fine. Yeah. You know, I don't mind that and would think it's kind of cool. But also he's not the kind of person that's going to go on some tour and be like, I'm in a song. I'm so egocentric. Like, again, the more I think about these two, the more I'm shipping it.
That's why I like this couple. They're very similar and they complement each other. They have like the qualities they need. Because Travis is he's always smiling. Mm-hmm. Just seems just like an easygoing guy. Likes to have fun. Yeah. Likes to go out.
Yeah.
You know, and she does too, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're both in their 34. Yeah. They are at the peak of what they're doing. They're enjoying their lives. And, she had a birthday party without him. It's like, good, you know, go live your life, Taylor. Like, go be with your New York friends and live that life. And then, you know, you can spend time with him. And I just think it's hilarious how much the NFL is all that's changed with just getting, you know, spotting Taylor. Like,
I know.
If you Google, I was trying to Google something before when I was doing research for this episode that we're doing, and I was typing in something, and it was like the first Google that came up was like, "Will Taylor be at Travis's game?" Like, what's happening?
The burning question in America right now.
Yeah. And just everyone watching her and like examining, does Mama Kelce like her?
Right.
Kelce like her? And
yeah, because I remember one of the first games she went to, and she was, they show her standing next to Mama Kelce, and then Mama Kelce went on some talk shows, and they're asking her, well, what do you think of Taylor? And she's like, well, I just met her the other day. Like, that was the first time I met her was when you saw me in the box with her. It's kind of like, she seems nice. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah. But I like that too, because that shows you about the mom, where it's a little bit like, again, the mom's not a star effer,
Right.
She's very much like, I don't know. I'm just getting to know her.
I just met her. I mean, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to ride these coattails out. Like, okay, I'm going to see what happens with my kid.
Yeah.
And see if she's, the one. All right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then there was speculation I saw on the Google, yesterday. Will Jason be at Travis's game? Or is it too sensitive for him? Is it too much, too raw? And then I saw a picture of him up in the box with Taylor Swift and everybody else. So it's like, of course he's going to go.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to go support his brother.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. Maybe Kylie wasn't there. Maybe
Kylie's
Kylie's taking
she's
care
probably
of the
home
kids.
with the kids. She's like, I'm not paying $4,000 a ticket because it costs even more to sit in the box.
Yes.
You know, and that's not even the Eagles box. It's, the Kansas City's box. So I don't even know if she could get in. She's probably like, I'm good. I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah.
This
I'm
weekend.
exhausted. I need some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but it's very exciting. So
what an exciting time.
Yes. Hopefully they don't break up between the time that we record this and the time.
Oh no, God.
What we would be.
That would be horrible.
Oh, that would be horrible.
Well, then we'll have to just retitle this the last episode about Taylor and Travis. Yeah, hopefully they're still together.
Yes,
in a few weeks. But she's not going to break up with him right before the Super Bowl.
No, she wouldn't do that. Would she?
After the Super Bowl.
Yeah, she seems. I mean, listen, she seems happy. I see her.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
giddy.
She's happy. Yeah. She's giddy. You see her. She enjoys watching him and cheering him on and all of that. So I think it's all good.
Yeah.
All right. So if you like this podcast, and please subscribe. And if you haven't already, please give us a 5-star rating. Both of those things really help us out a lot with the podcast. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at Psych Legal Pop on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to email us about other things, you can email us at psychlegalpoppodcast@gmail.com. Tell a friend, tell 2 friends, spread the word.
Send them the link to the podcast.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.